like a little sunshine. Got sand on your feet and a big bass line. Moving slow cause we've got time. Your sparkles out, party at mine. Check out the view, shades low. Started at 2, now we're good to go. Come to my party, all of your friends are here, and we're all smiling ear to ear. Come disappear. Let the love and sound surround you. 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 100 lives, a million ways. Let the love and sound surround you. I'd take flight with our ears to ground. We move in sound. Stars are out and drinks flow. The girls play hard and the boys all know. Cocktail twist in a silver sun. You can text me later, room 501. Killer whips and a kick drum. Waste it away on sea, sun and sun. Midnight approaching, all of your friends are here, and we're all smiling ear to ear. Come disappear. Let the love and sound surround you. 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 100 lives, a million ways. Let the love and sound surround you. Joy-filled eyes with a lost and found. 100 lives, a better fate. I'd take flight with our ears to ground. We move in sound.
Twelve rounds, ding ding. Sick and tired of the whole damn thing, yeah. Stick a move in the ring. You can hit me with the words you fling now. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. Be lucky if I stick around. Maybe foolish, but I ain't a clown. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, 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 no. Got the bell like a king, heavyweight champion of the whole damn thing, yo. Full of gas, full of spin, Jekyll and Hyde, you're the evil twin. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, you're never gonna. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. Be lucky if I stick around. Maybe foolish, but I ain't a clown. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, 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 no.
Keep myself in the dark, shadows watching over me, over me. You flick the switch, made a spark. From then on I wore my heart upon my sleeve. With you I bear all the scars. I was left with paper skin, you let me in. A different home, broken start. Baby, where do I begin? I begin. Rising up, we touch the sky. Won't be promising that I won't ever let you fall. We could build unlimited stories high if we played a game, just you and I. Whoa, like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, when it all comes crashing to the ground, we can start again and work it out. Like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, you found me after the fire, like a diamond in the rough. We're strong enough, raising the beds, pushing higher, risking everything for us. It's all for us. Rising up, we touch the sky. Won't be promising that I won't ever let you fall. We could build unlimited stories high if we played a game, just you and I. Whoa, like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, when it all comes crashing to the ground, we can start again and work it out. Like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey.
Keep rising up just to fall down. Keep rising up just to fall down. Keep rising up just to fall down. Oh.
Keep rising up just to fall down. Keep rising up just to fall down. Keep rising up just to fall down. Down. We could build unlimited stories high if we played a game, just you and I. Whoa, like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, when it all comes crashing to the ground, we can start again and work it out. Like a house of cards, house of cards.
Hello, you. Welcome once again to EPT Retro. It is the stream where we take a retrospective look at the era when live poker was still a thing, the early seasons of the European Poker Tour. I am James Hartigan, and I'm joined, as ever, by Joe Stapleton.
Hello, my babies. James, I always enjoy these trips back in time, back to 2009, back before the internet, back before vaccines, back before self-driving cars.
I have to say, the last one, you're probably right. I mean, bear in mind, we're very much in the era of the smartphone now, so we can expect players to stop talking to each other at the table anytime soon. We are in the middle of 2009, actually the spring of 2009 to be precise, but we're at the tail end of season 5 of the EPT, and we find ourselves going back to the Italian Riviera. San Remo was added as a new destination in season 4. It's back on the agenda for season 5, and we've seen the growth of the fields in these EPT events as we've covered them from the very start, Joe, but a huge jump here from San Remo season 1, or rather season 4, to San Remo season 5. And I think that that is fueled in no small part by the licensing in the Italian market and the poker boom that hit Italy in the late 2000s. I mean, 2008 was still a very successful event. More than 700 runners, 701 to be precise, playing a 5K. Fast forward 12 months and that field has increased to nearly 1,200. 1,178 unique entries in a 5K event in San Remo. Pretty solid stuff.
I think that can mostly be attributed to Cristobal Lira Maker.
Yeah. So we find ourselves covering the event from the late stages because we're not going to see it from the very beginning. Most of the field's gone by the time that we join the action. Remember, on EPT Retro, what we're taking are the highlights, the TV shows, and we've stripped away the original commentary, and then we're adding our own contemporary analysis. So we pick up the action with 4 tables left, around 30 players remaining. With there being nearly 1,200 runners, the prize pool was not inconsiderable. 5.7 million euros, with 111 players getting paid. And when we pick up the action, everyone's guaranteed more than 25,000. There are some faces in this that I think people are going to recognize. There are some pros who are still relevant today, who are starting to really make a name for themselves during this era of poker. So without further ado, shall we get to it?
I'm into it. Let's do this. Let's light this candle.
Okay, let's go to the Italian Riviera. Let's check out some action from San Remo 2009. And we have our first feature table with the blinds at 5,000, 10,000 with a 1K ante. And here we have Benjamin Kang from Germany.
I still don't know what Italian Riviera means. Is there a river?
It's the part of the Mediterranean coast, Joe, which is in Italy, as opposed to the French part, which is in France.
I get the difference between Italy and France, James. What I don't call is why it's called a river.
Well, forgive me for not assuming that geography would be your strong point.
It's bodies of water I have a difficult time with. Ace Queen here.
Yeah, so the opening raise has come from Gustav Sundell with pocket 8s. It is Danilo de Torres who has Ace Queen of Spades, and
That's fun.
he's called as well, right? That's not a re-raise.
Looks like a call to me.
He'll pass. Constant in the small blind.
Constant Reichenberg in the small blind with Queen Deuce of Hearts.
I raise.
He announces re-raise.
Oh, boy. Hey, it's not 2009 for everybody yet, is it?
The words I raise
84,000 total.
are 2 words you'll be hearing a lot from the mouth of Mr. Reichenberg.
Oh, he's one of those.
Big blind. Back over to Gustav.
If by one of those you mean
Gustav announces
ridiculously aggressive player, then yes.
I would stick the word Euro in there, but whatever.
Over to Danilo now.
Sundal responds by moving all in. De Torres folds the ace queen.
305.
Is this HTC?
The re-raise is 221,000 more.
An additional 221k to call. I don't think this is HTC, Joe.
It's not, but he's actually, just sort of put himself in a bad spot here where, yeah, he just sort of invited this with a hand that,
Bluff 7 deuce in front camera.
uh-huh. Whoops.
Ah, the classic not getting a good hand fold. That's still very much in vogue. So Reichenberg has the goods this time. Ace, King of Diamonds, opens to 23,000. We are still at the 5K, 10K blind level.
Now he's up against pocket 9s.
This is Erasmus Ackerblom from Sweden.
And against a player as active as Reichenberg, allegedly, I don't see how you don't 3-bet them.
Yeah, it's interesting that comment from Sundell. It seems that Reichenberg already has a reputation for
Rasmus is going to re-raise to 76.
getting a little bit out of line with junky hands. So Ackerblom re-raising here with the pocket pair. The 3-bet is to 76,000.
It's a 66,000 chip raise to him. He'll pass. Back to Constant.
Nice one, son of a perch. Calls him
Constant's gonna
Reisenberg.
re-raise.
223.
Reichenberg,
223,000
4 bets, 223 total.
Well, now you hate it, right? Now you're like, oh, God. Am I really about to get it in with 9s?
Pull him.
Yes, he is. And there is the call from Reichenberg. And we have our first flip from EPT 5 San Remo.
Got 9s from Rasmus. and
Like the
18s
blind
from
side
Rasmus.
versus Invictus, one of these two things from 2009 has a slight mathematical advantage.
Flop is
2
5
diamonds on the
jack,
flop.
2 diamonds on board. 5 of diamonds,
So pleased.
deuce of diamonds, and then
What do you
jack
think
of
about
spades.
the 3 of diamonds?
Rasmus is still in the lead with his
Specific,
nines.
but I will allow it.
Card.
Just a diamond.
Turn is
No
to 8 of
diamond.
clubs.
9s are holding. Ackerblom better than a 2-1 favorite here to double up through Constant Reichenberg.
River card is the
And
jack
he
of
will
hearts.
get that double up.
Rasmus is going to double through with jacks and 9s.
Thank you.
He's so happy. That's cute. I would imagine winning a flip feels really good.
We like emotion.
We do, indeed. That's why we're back in 2009, back when people had emotion.
6,000, 12,000 the blinds. And action has been folded to Danilo de Torres.
It's funny, one of my girlfriends told me I'd never be able to find a Taurus.
Nino says 2 hands dealt and I already want Reichenberg out. Why? Apologies, but Colin Murray and John Duffy couldn't make it today. We did invite them.
So you
Colin Murphy. We'll get him one day.
Because we're in Italy, I'll probably get arrested.
Has anyone tried? That would be pretty dope, I feel like, to have him guest for a minute.
31.
He's going to be the ultimate
He says, raise.
resource for what was going on back then.
So Reichenberg with ace-king suited again, raises to 31,000. Malta Strothman here.
I do not like what I see.
I see you again.
And Gustav Sundell folds the big blind. Raise and take it for Reichenberg.
Constant's going to take
Terrible.
the flop.
Terrible.
His name's Constant. The Constant Razor.
Okay, time to play a hand from Malta Strothman's perspective. We saw this player go deep at EPT Barcelona at the start of the season, and then he represented
Gustav was under
Team
the
Germany
pass to Max.
in the World Cup of Poker that we followed at the PCA.
I'm also a fan of his milk balls.
Danilo will pass over to Doro.
Check out this guy. He is cool.
Nah, not this time.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Gonna let you off easy this time, gang.
Move it over to Constantine. Or, I did it after you said it. To Constant.
Accidentally referred to as Constantine by Neil Johnson.
Let's see, get him back to call me Toby. For
Sure, that's what it's based on. Unless his parents really just wanted him to be named
Since Barcelona?
always.
So it's Strothman with Queen, Jack of Diamonds in the small blind. He's got Steve Silverman in the big blind.
He's gonna raise, make it
And
36,000.
Strothman's going to raise to 36,000.
24,000 chip raise to Steve in the big blind.
Steve Silverman, tough competitor. Have to think we have the best hand against any random
480, 490.
hand in the big blind.
going to go ahead and make the call from the big blind.
So defend from Silverman,
The blinds will go heads up to the flop.
and we go to the flop in this blind v blind battle.
All right, James, here's my plan for this hand. Hit the flop reel. Damn it.
Yeah, so
8 of hearts.
bear in mind that the first part of your plan has not been executed successfully. What happens now?
Check, give up. I suppose we can take one stab at this.
40,000.
Well, like Strothman's hero, Aaron Rodgers, he does not give up.
Aaron Rodgers was still in high school during this, I think.
Aaron Rodgers was already the starter in 2009. In fact, he took over from Brett Favre in the 2008 season.
Let's see the turn. Turn card is
You know the 49ers could have drafted him number 1 overall. Let's not go there. So Silverman called the continuation bet. We get the 7 of clubs on the turn.
Yeah, unless we want to go for some kind of triple barrel bluff here, I'm totally fine with, again, giving up at this point.
checks.
Obviously, clubs just got there. A lot of sort of weird straight draws, just made a pair.
Steve's going to check behind him. Let's see
Some
the red
backdoor
card.
things. Caught a 7 now.
There's a 9 of diamonds.
9 of diamonds would have been a nice card to see on the flop. Doesn't do much for us there. When Silverman checks back the turn, that says to me that he's got some showdown value. Not really sure if we can bluff him off of it. And Strothman
Check, check. Both
decides
players check.
not to
Steve
try to
with
bluff.
pocket sixes. Malte's going to pass, and Steve's going to take this pot.
Pocket 6 is good, and Silverman wins the pot.
I think that would have been a tough bluff.
Sadly, no update on the EPT rankings at this point in time, but we are going to look at the chip leaders here at EPT San Remo, and it's William Reynolds from the USA who's the man to catch right now with more than $1 million. Dragan Gallic also has a 7-figure stack.
Down the low in the cutoff.
And this was back in the era when we still thought San Remo was 2 words.
I was going to ask you about that.
Well, the casino sign clearly has it as 1 word. Every restaurant, every bar, everywhere it's written, it's 1 word. But I guess because of places like San Jose, San Antonio, San Diego, we automatically anglicize it and put a space in there.
I hate to tell you, but that's not English.
He'll pass as well.
I
Pass the
know.
blinds now.
So what's your fold to steal percentage online?
Online?
Yeah, like 100?
75, bro.
Like, you make it 90 now, okay? Make sure. Do it for me.
What's this kid, a real life HUD?
36.
36,000 is the raise from Constant.
Reichenberg with 9s in the small. Ace King for Ackerblom in the big blind.
4,000 chip raise to Rasmus.
Flip, reverse it.
Give it to me.
What we got?
$440.
240?
Man, these two just destined to tangle. This time blind on blind.
All in.
Ackerblom shoves. Reichenberg calls, and here we go again. Second coin flip, same 2 players.
Rasmus moves all in, and Constant is called. Rasmus has ace king offsuit.
Like
Constant
community
has
versus
black.
parks and recreation, one of these two
Rasmus has
things
the king of
from
spades and
2009
ace of
has a
hearts.
slight mathematical
Along with the
advantage.
9 of clubs and the 9 of spades. Constant is the at-risk player. Rasmus has him covered.
Can Ackerblom win 2 flips in a row? I've never seen it happen.
What do you vote? Says he folded a 9.
Velvet rooting, excuse me, Predator rooting for the Stars Nuts.
Comes deuce 3, 4.
Well, that is a wheel draw for Ackerblom.
The 9s are still leading. Let's see the turn card.
7.
Turn card is the Queen of Diamonds.
And is not coming 7.
I'm rooting for
Doesn't
the.
change anything.
Can you just put the 7 of spades?
Let's see the river card.
It's an interesting ask.
It's the 10 of clubs.
9's hold.
Gonna double through with his
And
nine.
this time, Reichenberg doubles up through Ackerman.
It's only fair.
Steve's gonna raise to 32,000.
Steve Silverman with ace-jack of clubs opens to 32K.
My old nemesis from the pocket sixes hand.
So will Max over to Danilo.
I love the Poker for Life hoodie. Not just for Christmas, Joe, for life.
For life, all the time, all the year round.
Pass to Doron now in the card.
It almost sounds like a punishment being handed out. I sentence you to poker for life.
Isn't that kind of what you're enduring right now?
Little bit.
Reichenberg on the button with ace-queen.
Constant makes the call from the button. Small blind fold.
And that is a flat call, 10 deuce. And Strothman folds the big. We go heads up to the flop.
Constant and Steve are gonna go heads
We're
up
going to
the
see a flop without two people being all in.
Shocking, I know.
6 of diamonds.
And it is a jack-high flop. It is domination rotation. Silverman with the advantage.
I guess you could say this jack is saving Silverman. Sure glad I got to dust off that one.
58.
58. 58,000's the bet.
140.
140,000 is the raise.
Okay, then.
Cool.
I mean, the dealer had not even verified the size of Silverman's bet when Reichenberg raised.
It's just never a super strong hand when they do that, right? Like, who's snap raising a set there? Who's snap raising? I guess some people might snap raise an overpair. But it's going to be like 4-5, 2 hearts,
Yeah.
Jack 10. Eight, 6 of hearts. It would be a good reverse tell if someone ever just like snap raise with a set here. It just, I can't think of a time it's ever happened, at least in our coverage. Silverman does have some choices here, right? Even if he's what? And my toothpicks running dry.
Yeah, Chuckles over there has decided it's time to call the clock.
So anyway, even if you're Silverman, right, and let's say you make the correct read here, there's still some choices how to proceed.
Yeah.
Do you want to raise back and protect your
Whoa.
hand?
Don't put
All right.
the clock in someone else's spot. It's, we're on a break now. It's like rude.
Yeah, I want to smoke. So what's up?
How Italian.
Actually, considering that that's the end of the level and they're going on break, calling the clock there is a pretty douchey thing to do.
You got ace jack?
No, just go ahead and slide.
We'll see it on the. I can say that.
James, that man needs a cigarette.
No one's stopping him from getting up from the table. Is he that attached to a hand he's not involved in? Blinds 8-16 with a 2K ante.
I think calling for the clock there is prescient. Mulva folds.
So it's Doron Torgman who's now become the villain of the table. Not Italian, Joe. German.
When in Rome, James. When in Rome, smoke as the Romans smoke.
He's got the ladles, pocket jacks.
Get him, Doron.
Someone call the clock on him.
That's actually would be awesome.
Race.
Doran announces raise to 40,000.
This kid, has he not been in a hand?
I think there was that one hand, the sweat with Strothman, where he wasn't involved.
Okay, there he goes.
To Rasmus now.
Ace 10 for Ackerman.
He's very likely in not very good shape after losing that second flip.
Like 200.
After the race, I got 245.
Ackerman folds. Now it's on Strothman on the button, who's got pocket eights. He's got the snowman. Num num.
The old noms. Look, Sanu on Twitch says, now is when the real poker begins. Agreed. Exactly right now. Meow. What's happening here? James, I'm a fan of calling on the button. Now, this is a very small sample size. We don't know a lot about what's been going on here. However, Turgman, at least in my small experience, has not been super active.
Well, the re-raises to 105,000, and now we've got Gustav Sundell
Like now, like 400k.
with queens in the big blind, re-shoving. Apologies. 4-bet jamming, and now a tough decision for Turgman with jacks. He's going to call all in. Strothman can comfortably fold now.
Yeah, this should save him a bunch.
Got really lucky.
There he goes.
So it's Sundell versus Turgman. The German is the at-risk player, and he is way behind here.
Ja, men man knäckte där. Ja, han kan.
Let's see the flop, please.
Oh, 8 high
no.
flop.
Eight with two spades. The four of spades, the deuce of spades, and the 8 of hearts. Let's see
No,
the
show the
turn.
guy who folded the eights. Come on. See that pain.
It's very important to play results in poker, as we know.
Three of clubs.
It's the only thing that matters, James. Why do you think Hendon Mob's a thing?
Let's see the river card.
Turgman needs a jack on the river. He does not hit.
Let's have a round of applause.
And so he is eliminated in 23rd place, cashing for 26,300 euros.
Clock.
Yeah.
I fold an 8.
And he folded an 8.
And I folded an ace.
An 8?
Yeah.
Case 8 on the flop. Right now, William Reynolds is still chip leader, but Constant Reichenberg is not far behind him. Steve Silverman is a top 5 stack, and Gustav Sundell is also among the leaders after that hand where he eliminated Turgman.
There's only one constant in my book, and that's the gardener.
7-5. Going to put any of those stacks of 10 to good use?
They're like little stubby stacks.
Down low under the gut.
Little chodes, little cans of tuna.
Over to Constant.
King, queen
Hello,
suited
Kara
for
Scott.
Reichenberg.
Constant's going to raise to
Scott and
39,000.
Francine Watson.
So it's a raise to 39,000.
Rasmus will pass. Over to Malte now on the cutoff. He's going to re-raise all in.
And Strothman decides to move all in.
Yikes.
Steve's going to pass the button.
I mean, I know Reichenberg has been opening pretty wide, but this is still pretty optimistic.
I had 400.
Yeah, it's weird you get away from eights
So it should
and then
be-
get it in with a much worse hand. Reichenberg, I think, should be folding this.
What he should
can
do
tease up.
and what he's going to do are two very, very different
Constant chose king,
things.
queen of spades.
Yeah, well,
Multi
there it
chose
is.
10
That's
jack,
why we're
10
watching
diamonds,
this
jack
hand.
of spades.
And Strothman does have live cards, but he has a 2-to-1 dog.
All right, Malta is the at-risk player. Constant has him covered. Constant is in the lead with the king of spades and the queen of spades.
This hand is
Malta
very
has the jack of
2009.
spades and the 10 of diamonds.
Run way too
Shoving
quick
jack
for me,
10.
like,
Well, let's see the flop, please.
Calling king
Stop
high.
very quick out.
Flop is
Queen
5,
high
5,
flop.
Queen,
That is
5 of
Can I
hearts,
get
pretty
a
much
king?
lights
5
out
of
for
clubs,
One and
Strothman.
nine, I
Queen
guess.
of diamonds. Malta
No,
is saying
king-
give him a king
king
for
is
2
better.
pairs,
King's
so
better,
it could be
yeah,
an
because
open
9
end.
gives you one
Yeah.
blocker.
Constant is in the lead with a pair of queens now.
I don't even have
Well,
backed
let's
off
see the
life.
turn card.
Deuce of hearts. Thank you.
There's the
It is the king,
that gives Constant top 2.
so
That gives
Strothman
Malta an open-ended straight.
now has the open-ended straight
Now I
draw.
want a 9 of an ace.
Malta's looking for a
Shut
9
up,
or an
man.
ace in order to double through here. Let's see that river card.
The river is a jack. Too little, too late. Malta Strothman out in 22nd place. 26,300 euros.
Time for the Malta Falcon to fly away.
Good luck. Good luck.
And looks like we're going to get William Reynolds at the feature table.
Oh, how I've missed this kid. What a superstar.
Bill Jam in action.
Look at those chips.
All right, Williams under the gun.
Last time I checked, Harleys can't fly.
Oh, Reed.
He's going to raise to 40,000.
You can take it back if you want.
Raises to 40k with King Jack.
I did it.
Constant now.
I did it, but he 3-bet me the first time. It was crazy.
Reichenberg with a hand he is not likely to fold. But he does fold. Interesting. Lots of players to act behind.
In the cutoff. He'll pass. Gustav has the button. Now Max
Is Will Reynolds going to get mad respect?
No, this is surely not going to be another raise and take it hand. We've already had one.
Just to establish, nope. Not a raise and take in hand. Thought maybe just to establish the
He
presence.
says call.
The Taurus verbally declares call.
All right, so for 40,000 apiece, they're going to go heads up to the flop.
And the flop is ace, king, 8. So it's top pair versus second pair.
Check.
Petrov says Reynolds did some commentary as well, didn't he?
Let's see the turn card.
He did indeed. Bill Jam was the co-commentator on most of season 7
Gloves.
of the EPT from 2010 to 2011.
Rainbow. Danilo check.
Check.
The Taurus checks for a second time. That verbal declaration of check, I think, reads a little strong to me. Will Reynolds maybe, after pot controlling on the flop, feels like he can try to value bet second pair. Totally understandable.
33,000 is the bet from William.
And I think once Taurus makes this call, I think we see Reynolds give up on the river. I love hearing Neil yell at people for taking pictures.
Call. Danilo announces call. 33,000 apiece. Let's look at the river.
Do you have an ace? I have an ace.
What?
Diamonds.
Ace.
Guys, Danilo, William, no.
Okay.
You can't say what you have. No, sorry.
Sorry, man.
Your first action.
Sorry, man. I check.
Danilo checks.
Now this puts a whole new paint job on things. This is really kind of a mind F.
I checked behind. I mean, do you believe for 1 second that this guy isn't telling the truth there?
I mean, I can see the whole cards, but it is just kind of, you feel like an idiot, right? If you check behind and give somebody a free showdown and they don't have the ace. 68,000 was the bet.
68,000 is the bet from William.
Imagine if he folds. Well, I told him I have an ace. He must have a case ace with a better kicker.
Dude. I would have definitely seen this hand before.
I call.
Danilo says call. William shows king jack for aces and kings with a jack. Danilo shows
Oh,
ace 10
that ace.
for 3 aces with a king 10.
He did say he had the ace.
I love how Neil's like, hey guys, you can't actually tell the other guy what your hand is.
I respect all the players on the table.
Fair enough. You didn't listen? Huh? You weren't listening to him?
Essentially. I did.
If he's going to
I don't even
continue
know.
Rasmus under the
stacking those chips in tens, he's going to need more table space.
I don't know how you begin to process that emotionally, where the guy tells you for some reason what his hand is and you call him anyway.
We've seen weirder, and we will see weirder again as we continue this journey through the EPT archives.
He's gonna raise to
We have
40,000.
ace-9 of clubs here for Rasmus Ackerblom. He's raised to 40,000.
Good stuff now. Everybody's gonna
Round to the
fold
button,
around.
Danilo de Torres.
How convenient on Twitch, James, asking about the DOPS. I'm sorry, I'm not aware of any DOPS. Thank you for your question.
It's going to get folded all the way around to Constant on the big blind now. 24,000 chip raise.
Are they stacked 20 high?
Yeah.
Once again, Ackerblom and Reichenberg. Pygmy Dwarf asks, why is it illegal to declare what you have? Well, I can think of one reason.
Call.
Let's say I'm playing with my friend James Hardigan and I don't want him to lose too many chips to me and I tell him I have an ace in my hand. That's probably bad, right?
So ace-9 versus pocket threes, and Reichenberg's threes are still ahead, but Ackerblom has a ton of equity here.
Rasmus is going to check as well. Let's see the turn card. Turn card is the queen of diamonds. 10, jack, jack, queen with 2 diamonds
So
on
you're
board.
up and down now with the 9, but
Yeah.
can't really love hitting the king end.
$47,000 is the bet from Constant.
James, in 2009, did you stream with a guy named Steps?
Steps. 5,
Step,
6,
step,
7, 8. My root tootin' baby is... No.
Well,
Rasmus is going to pass.
Irish Biggie thinks these were the best days for TV poker. The big game, Staps and Hardigan streaming.
Maybe he was streaming separately. Maybe he's referring to 2 separate streams that run in 2009. One with Hartigan and one with this Staps character.
Staps.
So we're down to 20 players, still at 3 tables right now, playing down to the final table at Casino San Remo. This event from mid-April 2009. And we have an all-in here. Massimiliano Trifolio, all in with ace-8.
Constant's not that important.
Reichenberg
I want to see
And he would
Yama.
like a count.
wants a count. He's got king-7 of diamonds.
Depends. I got 16. I want to gamble. I call.
Okay.
Reichenberg says he wants to gamble, and that's what he will do.
I'm right, Max is the all-in player. He has the 8 of diamonds and the ace of spades. Constant has him covered with king 7 suited in diamonds. Let's see the flop, please.
I haven't covered in honey. There's the king.
I am so sorry
Ace 4-9 with 2 diamonds
for what's
on
about to
board.
happen to you, sir.
Max has flopped a pair of aces.
He's
in
flopped
lead.
top
8 diamonds
pair.
left, and he has the 8 of diamonds, so a diamond's coming. That's 6 diamonds. That's fine.
Turn cards is 7 of clubs. Black.
Oh, you see, he flops the diamond draw, then gets in with running sevens, right?
I like to give him a sweat.
Max is in the lead, but he needs
Is the 7 always coming?
a diamond in the deck.
No, this time.
I will commit suicide if I do.
Another time.
Let's see the river card. It's a 10 of
It's the
diamonds.
diamond.
Let's have a round of applause for Max. He's going to finish.
Oh, we have our 20th place finisher as Reichenberg gets lucky.
Steve under the gun.
No justice in poker.
Blinds 8,000, 16,000.
He'll pass as well to Danilo.
Down goes the Del Dog.
Danilo passes.
What is it? What is it? Yeah, he just got knocked out.
William now on the button.
Seems the players are taking interest in action at one of the outer tables.
37,000 is the raise from William.
Will Reynolds got his little lapdog, Reichenberg. He's like, tell me what's going on at the other table. I'm not going to exert myself. Can you just take a little peek?
Pass back to William. 64,000 chip raise.
No more raising.
Well, whatever that commotion was, it saw the elimination of David Eldar.
What do you want to
Says
see?
he can win the first battle.
Want to see?
Constant takes the first.
I always want to see.
Choose one. Choose one. Choose one. Total gamble. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it.
Constant shows the deuce of hearts.
Deuces were gooses.
Deuces were gooses?
Deuces versus deuces?
Yeah, deuces.
Oh, I would have shoved all in deuces. I'd have been so
I
happy.
said my deuces were gooses.
Oh, your deuces were good. Well,
So it's like you're ever folding a pair there.
yeah. So yeah, good.
Why is Deldar out?
I know.
I wanted to bust him. Now I gotta be the Dragon Slayer.
Another elimination means we're down to 17. That means we're one away from being the final 2 tables.
40,000. Danilo.
So
What does
Gustav,
the Taurus about to walk into?
yeah, Sandel's opened with kings. Looks like the Taurus is folding, as does William Reynolds.
Always raise. That's no good.
Reichenberg with 10s.
Well, we saw what he does with King 7 suited.
How much do you have? A mil?
You know, if I had to,
Constant's going to make the call.
if I had to
40,000.
speak to Reichenberg's strengths, I'd say it's probably his post-flop play.
Reichenberg calls the raise. Action now on Ackerblom. He folds.
Steve in the big blind.
Steve Silverman has posted the big blind, and he's got the snowman's num-num.
What's his total stack? He's not going to feel like he has to get it in here, is he?
All in.
Steve announces re-raise all in.
Oof.
The big blind. Gustav says re-raise all in.
I fold. If you shove, fold I shove.
Wow.
If you fold,
Yeah,
I
we
fold.
don't care. Just fold.
Yeah.
Reichenberg finds the fold button, and it's Steve Silverman all in and way behind here.
Kings and eights. Kings for Gustav and eights for Steve.
Oh, I was snapping.
Let's see the flop, please.
I hope a 10.
Flop comes four,
No
six,
10
nine,
and no
6 of
8,
hearts,
so
nine of
Silverman
clubs, 4 of
down to
diamonds.
12% equity.
Let's see the turn.
Yeah, of course.
Turn is a 9 of
5%, 2 outs, needs to hit an 8 on the river.
spades. Let's see the river card.
It's the 10 that would have given Reichenberg a full house. And Steve Silverman is eliminated in 17th place, and we're down to the final 16. 2 tables of 8. Gustav Sundell is now chip leader with 1.7 million, not far behind him. Constant Reichenberg with 1.6 million. Gallic and Fitzgerald also have 7-figure stacks. And at the other end of the leaderboard, we've got Stefan Raffet, who's got just 62,000 chips. Hey, Pierre Neville, the serial qualifier. I think this might be the first time we've seen him on the EPT in one of our shows, Joe.
Excellent. Well, we haven't seen him yet, but we've seen his name. Hopefully, we will see his face in the next episode.
Yeah, and again, with these shows from 2009, from Season 5 of the EPT, we don't see too much outer table action. We basically focus on the feature table and just get the occasional updates at the top of the screen of what's happening at the other tables. So I guess if he gets a seat on the main stage, we'll get to see him. So yes, we are introduced to William Reynolds at this event, and William did spend some time on the live stream as a guest commentator at future events after his appearance here in San Remo. And based on that, William was working on the EPT TV shows for a while as well. So he's part of the EPT family, and it's great to actually see him play here in San Remo. But Reichenberg, kind of feel that this is all about him right now, Joe.
It's definitely the Reichenberg show, although I was enjoying their interactions. Hopefully we get to see more of that. I think when you see 2 big personalities and 2 guys who sort of feel confident in their games, like those are the matchups that we really love to see, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we rejoin the action after the redraw. We are down to the final 16, down to the final 2 tables, and it's time to play down to the final table. Blinds 10-20.
Speak of the devil.
It's going to fold over to Constant.
All right, well, we do have Reichenberg.
He says raise.
King 7 of spades.
51,000.
Makes it 51k.
51.
So we saw the leaderboard, Joe, and we know that Reichenberg and Sundell are 1 and 2 in chips right now. So a battle of the big stacks unfolding as Sundell 3 bets to 130k. We have got Pierre Neville, by the way. There he is.
Back in 2009, Pierre was only 85.
He'll pass the small to Kate in the big.
It's great seeing him so young.
How much do you have? 1.7, right? Yeah.
Reichenberg with his King 7 suited.
I make it 320.
Constant says re-raise to 320,000.
I'm all in.
All in.
I want to say this isn't going to end well for him, but
He's not called the
doesn't
all-in.
really seem. Not yet. He hasn't folded either.
Sorry, he's just still putting out the 320,000. I thought for a moment he was just doing the single stack call of the all-in.
I mean, this is just a huge shove.
Monkey May asks, is this before the chips in uniform stacks rule, or is that not a thing in Europe? It's not a thing in Europe. It's not a thing in most card rooms around the world.
You can get them to do it if you ask, but most places are not going to say anything to you until somebody asks. And if you're Sundell, you got to be really happy the second you don't get snap called. You're like, all right. Pretty good here either way. This would be absolutely insane. I want him to do it.
Constant's going to pass.
Ah.
And Gustav's going to take the pot.
Well, that'll put a bit of distance between Sundell and Reichenberg, currently 1 and 2 on the leaderboard, with 16 players remaining. Blinds are 10,000, 20,000 with a 2k ante. So Pierre Neville earned that nickname, Joe, because he somehow managed to satellite into every single EPT, or certainly the majority of events. But I'm not 100% sure whether the moniker was given to him by a member of the poker media, or whether he actually gifted it on himself.
It feels like a self thing, I'm not going to lie. Pierre Novell, obviously, famously qualified for almost EPT. This 5K event, he got in for only 22,000.
Pierre raises to 56,000.
Raises here to 56K with pocket sevens.
Argento says call.
And this is Giuseppe Argento.
Fold it around to Constant in the big blind.
Dario's brother.
Boeit me niet.
56, right?
Denk je dat ik op tilt ga of zo? Dat ik? Wil je even knuffelen?
All right, 56,000 apiece. They're going to go heads up to the flop.
Everyone else gets out of the way.
Flop is 10 of hearts.
And it is a Jack-10 deuce flop.
Pierre is first.
Neville
And they
still
check
ahead.
it down.
But Argento with more equity because he has the open-ended straight draw, plus 2 overs to the board. Pierre has continued.
75,000 is the bet from Pierre.
75,000 called by Argento.
Check out that side of the table.
All right, 75,000 each. Let's look at the turn card.
Grown-ups.
3 of clubs.
Okay, Pierre now better than a 2-1 favorite after the brickiest of bricks appears on the turn.
Argento says all in.
Whoa! That's dramatic.
It is dramatic. He has put himself in a good spot, at least in this case, to get a better hand to fold. I think there are other better hands that would fold. You know, all the ace-high hands, all your ace-kings and ace-queens, those are hands that are better than yours. They're folding. It's a little bit risky because I think you're getting snapped
Pierre's going to pass.
with a
and
jack,
Argento
but he
takes the
does
flop.
get the sevens to fold. I'm going to say good job.
Giuseppe Argento chips up.
Good job, Giuseppe.
He's back to 1.2. What's Lars?
Sam says, wait, I went away for a moment to answer the phone. We switched to the seniors event. No. Just 3 of the best making the final 2 tables
To 70,000.
along this poker journey.
Catlin Journey with pocket aces opens to 70K.
Gustav folds the button. Alex in the small.
Alec Fitzgerald, Assassinato folds. And Pierre Neville
Re-raise all
moves all in with 9s.
I am for.
Kate says call.
More like Pierre Neufville.
Flip him. Kate has 2 aces. Pierre has 2 nines.
Unlucky
Ace
Pierre.
of diamonds and the ace of clubs. Pierre has the 9 of hearts and the 9 of spades. So all 4 flush draws are in play. Let's see the flop, please. Flop is
9 on the flop.
Pierre's flop a set of 9s.
And this is before Stars Nuts were a thing.
For an ace or running king jack. Let's see the turn card.
Taking that incredibly well.
There's the king of clubs.
Okay, not drawing dead.
Pierre's still in the lead with his set. Pierre needs to dodge those 6 cards to double through. Let's see the river.
Jack or an ace needed.
It's a queen.
It's a queen.
Pierre's going to double through with 9s full of queens.
Journey, Gurney.
Well, Neville doubles up, but Journey's not out.
Just crushed.
Nem baj. Újra.
The worst is in the back.
Hey, Journey, don't stop believing.
Very good. Very, very good.
Carla Niemi opens here with ace jack of clubs, raises to 55,000. And here comes Reichenberg. Unnecessary re-raise with king jack suited, 123,000.
He's having fun at least. Yeah, time to shoot your shot, buddy, if you're going to talk to Journey. She's pretty short.
Raise, re-raise. 123.
Yeah, that's 300, right?
It doesn't really matter what the action is. You should be folding this hand, sir.
Gentle will pass the bid. Back over to Cully.
Wow.
Well, Constant takes the pot.
Reichenberg somehow gets respect and gets a better hand to fold.
It's tough to be critical of that free bet when it works.
I know, right? Action has been folded to Reichenberg.
What fresh hell is this?
Jack 10 off. Raises to 52,000.
Gustav will pass. Alex now.
A6 for Alex Fitzgerald.
One of the few guys that stood the test of time.
Folded to Giuseppe Argento, and he announces call from the small blind with ace queen.
There's an argument to re-raise, obviously, from that position with ace queen, but I think calling is fine against a player who's...
I want to know.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Roughly 8, 8.5. Otto,
8.5, like the Fellini movie.
Heads up, these guys are going to go. Let's see the flop. 4 of spades, deuce of spades, 4 of hearts. Argento
Ace high still ahead.
He's going to check.
So you got to be ready for this, right? When you just call in the small blind with ace queen, you're going to have to call some barrels, especially on a board like this.
Quanto? 72.
32.
70. 7, 7.
Go.
Argento's going to call.
This is weird.
What, Neil Johnson having to translate
Yeah.
Italian?
Turn card's a 9 of diamonds.
Just keep firing, Reichenberg. You know you want to.
Argento check.
I don't think he cannot do it.
$145.
145,000. 145.
You can tell he really enjoys it. Arrivederci.
I mean, can you imagine if Neil was literally just making it up and the information that Argento's getting is in no way accurate?
Fold.
Argento says he folds.
He's going to show it, isn't he?
He shows the ace of hearts.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Constant's going to take the pot.
Don't show him that you fold ace queen there.
I'm all a mover.
So that's the reason why you might want to re-raise pre-flop.
Constant under the gun. First in, first out. Over to Gustav.
Yeah, but the flip side of that is you re-raise, and then Reichenberg, regardless of what 2 cards he has, puts in a huge 4-bet, and then you start feeling a little bit sick.
All in.
Now you fist pump, get it in against that maniac.
Journey.
Journey.
Shoved from the button with ace-8.
400.
And Will Reynolds asked for a count. He's got pocket 6s in the small blind.
350.
All in.
350,000.
So there's the reshove.
William announces re-raise.
He's
all
bill
in.
jamming.
That'll get the big blind to
Nice.
fold. So it's William and Kate. William has 2 6s.
William and Kate.
Kate has 8
Foreshadowing.
clubs. Let's see the
Like
flop
Waking
raise.
Up in Vegas versus Boom Boom Pow. One of these two things from 2009 has the slight mathematical advantage.
Queen.
Sixes are holding after the flop. Journey looking for an ace, an 8, or running clubs.
Kate's looking for an ace, an 8, or running clubs. Let's see the turn card.
Oh, no sweat. Well, a little bit of a sweat. Okay, the set for Reynolds, the straight draw for Journey.
One of the 4 5s in the deck in order to make a straight and double through. Let's see the river card.
Don't do it like this. Don't do it like this.
It's a queen. Let's have a round of
Full house for Reynolds and the elimination of Catlin Journey in 15th place, cashing for €30,850.
It is time for this tourney and this journey to go their separate ways.
Hát ennyire futotta. Meg kellett menni már itt, nekem nem.
Taking us down to the final 14. Now they're trying to explain to Giuseppe Argento that there's going to be a dinner break. I think Neil's okay with doing numbers, but when it comes to communicating any other information, we have an epic fail on our hands.
Dario, you know, dinner, pasta fazool, spaghetti and meatballs.
Bless him, I think Neil was trying to avoid cultural stereotyping. Reichenberg with King 10 on the button. Raises to 40k, and it's round 2, Assassinato in the big blind. Alex Fitzgerald has ace-6.
His face always looks like there's a bad smell.
So for 40,000 each, they'll go heads up to the flop.
All clubs, Queen 10-5, so it's second pair for Reichenberg, but the nut flush draw for Fitzgerald.
Yeah, there it is, the ace of clubs, baby. Definitely an intimidating figure, then and now. Cranksy says, holy, the guy looks like Assassinato. It is Assassinato. Oh.
Did Reichenberg just respond by moving all in?
Yeah, he sure did.
Appropriate reaction.
And once again, he's managed to pull this move in a spot where he probably shouldn't get called.
Oh, how do you fold the ace of clubs here?
Because Reichenberg's got you covered, and these chips are valuable. You also have to account the fact that some of the time Reichenberg's going to be blocking you, right? Like, he's going to have 1 and/or 2 clubs often enough, not in this case.
You'll go really far. You'll go really far. You play very well.
What do you say? What do you say?
That is an excellent decision versus my range.
Thanks.
Is that the first mention of the word range? Yeah, that's right, the cable. Noticed it as well.
Blinds are 12,000, 24,000. Action is on Gustav Sundell. One of the biggest stacks with 14 remaining, and he's got pocket sixes. May no longer be chip leader. There's a very good chance that that honor now belongs to Constant Reichenberg.
Constant Reisenberg.
So Sundell is opened. What? And that is a shove there from Giuseppe Argento, all in for 395,000.
How much is that?
Neil translates that as all in.
I want
How is it that this dude just wakes up with a hand whenever he needs to? He just never has it. Everyone folds. Someone moves all in. He's like, ah, just kidding. I got it. Is this Hollywooding or is he really worried about Sundell?
Well, he's just called. And Sundell folds the sixes.
Agenten soll in and Constant made the
Go. Go.
made the call. Okay. So Constant's hand is ace queen of diamonds and
Argento dominated and at risk.
he shows ace 10 of hearts.
What do you have? Not 10? Anyone a 10? Anyone a 10? No, just kidding.
È finita, ragazzi.
Ace of hearts, 10 of hearts.
È finita.
He's not in player, ace queen.
Argento knows it's not looking good.
I would have died if you overshot. I would have died if you overshot.
È finita.
Oh, 2 hearts on there.
I'm rooting for this guy.
Two hearts, and there are 2 hearts on the board.
I'm rooting for
It's either 10 or a heart.
a diamond. Make it a diamond.
Andiamo Argento.
There's the 6 for Sundell.
Okay, stop smacking.
Agenten needs a queen.
Oh, hang on.
What?
Sir.
È finita. Devi fare passo.
Flush!
Yeah. Oh, don't do it. Oh, come on. Give him a little love. It is weird to go for your opponent to get a high five. I will. So much went on in that hand.
Someone that's so annoying smacking the table. I mean, I don't care that he wins the pot, but just don't smack the table if I ask you not to do it. I did it 3 times.
Doesn't understand you. I think we've established now the man does not speak any English.
I think there's a culture gap as well as a generational gap.
The failed high five fist pump was awesome. Okay, it's a sweat with opportunity, Joe. We're playing this hand from Gustav Sundell's perspective. Good luck, because you're going to be taking on Giuseppe Argento.
Who's limping in.
Oh, yeah.
Man, oh, man. When an older feller, we'll call him, limps, I just have no idea what's going on. We have queen 3. Fold. Easy. The hell are we doing?
We're going 3-way to the flop with the 2 old guys at the table, Pierre Neville and Giuseppe Argento, with queen 3 offsuit.
2 pair or GTFO? Oh, I guess that's
You got it.
technically 2 pair, isn't
You
it?
got 2 pair. Ask and ye shall receive.
I mean, it's really hard not to think we have the best hand right now. But this guy is practically singing in the rain, dancing with glee as he splashes chips into the middle. So obviously you can't just go folding top pair here, but if this guy just nonchalantly bets again, I think we can give serious consideration to folding.
I do think that the limping pre could be a very wide range, and there is no doubt in my mind that it includes hands like aces or kings that he was trying to trap with.
Okay, it goes check, check now.
Sundell still taking a passive line, which I don't dislike.
Yeah, I think we're going to get checked back a lot. It looks like that is what happened.
Argento had ace-king, so it was a premium that he limped with, but did not connect with the board, and Sundell will win this pot.
It's pretty tough to trap with a hand that isn't a pair. Now, sir, wouldn't you have rather raised with that hand and won the blinds and the
Ik steek hem
antes?
gewoon zo meteen, sta ik weer op 3.
Got you tilted, says Phil Hellmuth would disagree, Joe. I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would disagree. And I think that it's a viable strategy when you are... I still don't like limping. But you can trap a guy like Reichenberg. I'm not sure what you're asking, Irish Biggie, but thank you for your question.
Oh, here we go. Reichenberg going to the flop against his nemesis. Argento takes the lead, pairing his 4. Reichenberg with a gut shot.
Boy, is Reichenberg going to be annoyed if this gets to showdown. It's like he's having his own personal tournament with Neil. He already said call.
Yeah, but he needs to know how many chips to put in. He called without knowing the amount.
We'll just figure it out later.
There's no way that Reichenberg's slowing down.
Not a chance. And Argento folds the best hand. I would have expected that. See, to me, that says that Argento doesn't know there's a grudge match. Like, this rivalry between them only exists with Reichenberg right now.
Yeah.
I know.
I saw the
I don't think
reigning champ wandering around there. I saw Jason Mercier walking between the tables, out at this point in time. Gonna hand over the metaphorical baton.
Action on Sundell here. Nye. Nyeville also says Nye. Argento gonna slap some chips in, pocket 3s. That's right, Ed K. The Merce Dog. Will Reynolds, pocket Kangs.
He's got the KK and he is here to play, re-raising to 68,000. Carla Niemi folds in small blind. Constant Reichenberg in the big blind. King 10 of clubs. Nah. So action back on Argento.
I don't think he's going to fold a pair. I also don't think he has enough chips to really set mine. With that size stack, it's tough to tell, but I think that he should probably just be shoving if he's going to play a hand. Was that a 3? Oh, so close.
It's the deuce. Checks. Reynolds in position with the betting lead and the vastly superior hand.
76.
Continues for 76,000.
William bet 76,000. 76,000.
Call.
And call. 76,000.
Yeah, dangerous board for pocket 3s. It's going to look like they're good. So Argento limped in with the threes and Reynolds raised on the button. Is that how this went down?
6 of hearts.
I thought it was a re-raise from Reynolds.
2, 4, 7, 6. Argento's first. Jack.
145.
And Argento picks up a straight draw now. Not a very good one. But I think it can be real easy to convince yourself. They always have ace-king here, right? It's ace-king or ace-queen. I got him.
Getting to the point where Argento doesn't actually have that much behind.
Yeah.
Only
Call.
All in and a call.
Argento
I say he doesn't have that much behind. 459,000 is not an insignificant stack. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's true. I misread that.
Argento, please show your hand.
He must be not even having a straight draw.
No, he does have a straight draw.
No, he doesn't have a straight draw. Fuck.
Argento make a 3. So he needs another 3 or a 5 to make a straight. If not, Argento will be our 11th place.
I like paint. I like paint.
And here's the river card.
I like paint.
And it's a 9.
It's not paint, but he'll take it. And that will see the elimination of Giuseppe Argento, and Reichenberg's fist pumping now. He was not a fan of this guy. And with an elimination from the outer table, we are down to the final 9, the unofficial final table. Reichenberg, second in chips behind Dragon Gallic, who's got 2.66 million. Sundell, Reynolds, Fitzgerald, the other big stacks. Pierre Neville, the player at immediate risk, with 185k. He's in the danger zone.
Danger zone.
Blinds are 15,000, 30,000 with a 3k ante. Ace Jack for Nemi. Folds under the gun.
Alex pass. Pierre pass.
Detoris is back. Jack 9 suited. That goes in the muck. So folded around to Reichenberg, who's got Jack 7 off on the button.
Probably going to feel compelled to raise late position, all the chips. Granted, he's not the chip leader.
Constant raise to 78,000. Dragon
And he is attempting to raise with the actual chip leader in the small blind, who just insta-calls Queen 8 of hearts.
With the big blind folding, we are going to go heads up to the flop. And that flop is Queen 10-6 with 1 heart.
Pretty happy about this when you call out of the small with Queen 8. Oh, he's going to lead at it.
Okay, leads for 110,000.
The old dragon dunk.
Wow, Reichenberg raises to 300,000. Gallic snap calls. No time cut out of that.
These guys putting so little thought into their actions. Like Reichenberg's snap raise, again, is just, I don't think when you have value hand that you're ever going to snap raise like that.
Hasn't Pierre Neville got like 6 bigs or something?
Here is the turn card. Deuce of hearts.
Okay, so Gallic now has a lock on this. Even without knowing the cards.
Guys.
He knows he's got top pair and a flush draw. Of course he's going to call the 400,000. What is happening here?
They're racing to get their chips in the middle. This is hilarious. 400,000 call, 800,000 call. Dealer's like, I haven't even put out the flop yet.
Okay, so no flush for Gallic. Checks. Reichenberg bets 500,000.
I just don't think you can fold. called with queen 8. The board texture hasn't really changed. You do have to be worried about bigger queens, but we just don't know how often Reichenberg's going to have like a good queen in this spot and just bet blindly. I think when you're value betting, you're going to put a little bit more thought into these actions, unless you have something like pocket queens or a 6 that you were bluffing with that now has turned into trips.
Okay, call.
He calls.
Call.
Got him.
And Dragan calls. 500,000.
Gallic wants to see it.
Eight of hearts. He has a pair of queens.
Why do you play so aggressive? What's going
And
on?
fold. Constant. Dragan wins a big
I
pot.
bet. I show you I hit.
2.7 million.
I show you I hit.
How much was the total? 2.7.
Why do you play so aggressive? I show you I hit. I bet. I can't believe you do that. I can't believe. Really. I can't believe you do that.
Dragon breathing fire.
I show you I hit. I bet.
All right, buddy. How much is he charging for this rub
I come
down?
on the table and he want to bluff me the first hand. What's going on?
$2 a
It's
minute.
good, but I don't. Wow, I can't believe really you do that. Can you change this, please? And,
Wow. What an
I think
epic,
I can.
epic
Oh, speaking of
conclusion.
which,
It's got to be really little, and it can't say .com.
so
Serious, that's why his got changed to
I can kind of understand where that rub down comes from. Obviously, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But he's mad because Reichenberg stressed him out. It's the same way like when your toddler plays at the top of the stairs and you run over and you're like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
You're upset at how, you're reacting to how scared you are in that situation.
Pierre's going to raise all in.
Here comes the short stat. Pierre Neville all in for 182k with King 10.
Can we get the count on it so if anyone wants to? Speeding things up, man. How much is it?
182,000 is the all-in bet. Danilo is passed.
I got 400.
Sundell re-raising to isolate with queens.
That'll get Constant to fold the button. Dragon will pass the small. We're back to the big blind, and Ovi.
Ovi Balaj is in the big blind with Queen 10.
Ovi's
That is a fold, and here we go.
the hands, gentlemen.
Neville at risk and behind.
For Gustav, King 10 offsuit for Pierre.
Neville about to be Namor.
How much was it?
Pierre is the at-risk player. He has the king of clubs and the 10 of spades. Gustav has him covered with the queen of spades and the queen of clubs. Let's see the flop, please.
No king. Yes, a queen.
Flop is ace, jack, deuce.
No queen now.
Jack of diamonds.
Now he does not want the queen.
Pierre has picked up a gut shot straight draw. Gustav does
Poker gods
not
are like,
want
too
to
bad,
be
you
set
said
down.
queen. Here comes
Let's
queen.
see the turn card.
Deuce is okay.
Who wants queen?
That's okay.
No queen.
Six of spades. Doesn't change anything. Pierre is looking for a king or a queen here on the end in order to double through. Let's see the river card. It's the 10 of diamonds. Let's have a round of applause.
And that will do it for Pierre Neville, 9th place finisher. Cashes out for just shy of 79,000 euros. And now we have our official final table, the final 8 players. So come back for the final day and compete for the first prize of more than 1.5 million euros. And it'll be Dragan Gallic who will come into that final as chip leader with more than 3 million. We can see that Reichenberg has dropped down the leaderboard, 4th in chips with less than 1,932,000. Ovi Balaj will be the low stack at the table with 625k.
Here's the incredible thing about that Pierre Neville
Yeah.
appearance, right? He bubbles, right there, right? We're down to the final 9 now. And this dude, you would expect that would be one of his last opportunities, right? An older guy, just bubbles the final. That is the beginning of his poker career, and he goes on to do incredible things after that, really saying a lot for a guy his age.
Yeah, and I believe that Pierre was a runner-up in an EPT. It was 1 year in Copenhagen. Was it the year that Mickey Peterson won, perhaps? But Pierre definitely came close a few times. So we talked about EPT4 San Remo, Joe. The event from 2008 was Jason Mercier won. And I didn't get to go to San Remo that year, but I did do the TV shows. Flip Reverse It for 2009. We saw the caption earlier on. This was a Colin Murray, John Duthie production. But I did get to go to San Remo that year and did the live stream with our friend Nick Wealthall. So this was my first trip to the Riviera and discovered San Remo with all of its eccentricities and charm. As we've discussed numerous times, there are things you like about it and some things that you don't so much like about it. But bear in mind that the live streams back then were cards down, even for the final table. This is the first time that I've seen any of this action and will see the final table with cards up. So clearly at the time, I'm acutely aware of the fact that Reichenberg is a raising machine. He's clearly a very aggressive player. But I don't think we realised just how wide his range was. I don't think we realised how out of line and ridiculous a player he actually was, because most of these hands weren't going to showdown.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell when you're looking at cards down coverage. Is it card distribution or is someone just incredibly active? And I guess it still remains to be seen, but all signs are pointing toward incredibly active.
Yeah. The other thing which I don't think comes out, particularly from the highlights, which I very clearly remember from the live stream, is that both William Reynolds and Alex Fitzgerald were not just very good players, but also big characters. And we've had a little bit of table chat from Bill Jam and one comment from Assassinato, but both these guys were really entertaining to watch for their great play and also their great banter. And it's a shame that due to the nature of condensing hours and hours of poker play into a highlight show, you lose some of that.
Yeah, it must have been, obviously what we see is snippets, right? Moments in time. And sometimes you can cheat things a little bit, right? And include conversation that really happened elsewhere. But to really tell the whole story of why there are tensions and what's going on with the banter, you kind of need all that context. Well, we are missing a little bit of that here.
Of course. But that's the nature of the beast, and it's been the case since we started this EPT Retro journey a few weeks ago. So we have reached the final table of EPT San Remo, the penultimate event from Season 5 of the European Poker Tour. This event played at Casino San Remo in April of 2009. 8 players remain. They have all locked up 114,000 euros up top, a first prize of more than 1.5 million. Let's get to the final table action on the Italian Riviera.
Now is when the real poker playing begins.
Blinds 20,000, 40,000. And it is chip leader Dragan Galic who's going to open here with Ace Queen.
Quite possibly the originator of the "Why You Do This" meme.
Balazs is the table short stack. He folds. Kalaniemi from Finland with Jack 4. Folds. William Reynolds has put on a jacket for the final table. He's got Ace 9.
Probably just has a stain on his shirt.
Sounded like there was a question mark at the end of that. Re-raise?
He has done that a few times. Wonder if there's anything to be read into that.
267,000.
Wow.
Alex pass.
Danilo de Torres with King 9.
Should be a pretty easy fold. He is the anti-Reichenberg, actually takes a moment before making his decisions.
Gallic announces call.
167,000.
I think there's a pretty good chance Reynolds blows him off this hand if he misses the flop.
Two players, and here is the flop.
Queen
of spades,
5-5.
spades, 5 of diamonds.
Okay, so remember I said if he misses the flop, which he has not done. Wow, he just open shoves.
Well, it's like he said to Constant Reichenberg, if I have a hand, I'm going to bet it.
This technically qualifies.
Fold
Oh,
2-5.
buddy.
And pass.
That
Oh,
is
buddy.
probably a lesson in how to lose value.
Top pair and kicker ace.
Some of these guys,
Look at his reaction.
some of these guys play as if you get extra chips for making your opponent fold. Like you don't want them to fold there. When you, do I really have to explain this? I guess, right?
Yes,
People out there.
you have to explain that the right play is play and flow, check your opponent, let him bluff at it, just call, keep bluffs in his range.
Yes, and we can also say that when you do that, all of the hands that you're beating are going to fold, right? Like maybe King Queen gets like crazy and calls you, but you know what's definitely calling you, which
Five.
also re-raises pre-flop? Aces, kings, somehow a set of queens, or which would be a full house, a 5 somehow if they're in there.
Well, I wouldn't put it past William Reynolds to get frisky with an ace-5 suited pre.
William call 90,000.
That's right, the kid. Better hands.
So Reynolds calls with the Jack-10 of hearts. Round to Danilo de Torres.
Boxes.
This guy doesn't just play poker today, he plays poker for life.
Constant is in a big blind.
Reichenberg, 9-8 of hearts.
7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, hearts.
Cool.
Call. With 3 players. And the flop is 5 of hearts, 10 of spades.
Still 2 hearts flop.
He checks.
Wow. So Reynolds
Oh,
here
Reynolds.
with second pair and the better flush draw.
Will Reynolds has all of this.
But it's,
Gallic is going to get out of line, it looks like.
No.
He checks.
he's true to his word, Joe. If he's got it, he bets. If he doesn't, he checks. You got to admire that straightforwardness in a player.
Where did the pocket 4s go?
55.
Folded.
Was that last hand?
The Torres folded.
Oh. Why would he do that? He hit his set.
Call.
William call 155,000.
Like esports champions says, why didn't he balance his range by shoving there?
Check of spades.
Well, 2 pair now for Reynolds.
Constant check.
Reichenberg
You have just under 700.
checks.
$199.
So frustrating for Reichenberg. Luckily for him, he missed everything.
199,000 is the mildly tilting bet from William Reynolds, folded by Constant Reichenberg.
Why is that? Why are the even 1K chips still out there?
Antes, I assume.
Like still like 2.5.
No. 25.50 with a 5K ante. There's absolutely no reason for the 1Ks to still be in play.
Well, I mean, maybe the antes go up to like 8,000 or something next.
So Reichenberg is opened with Queen Jack.
much do you have? Me? On right is 1.8.
Actually, on William in the small right.
Will Reynolds is like part Hulk Hogan, part Logan Paul.
Raise. 332.
Re-raise to 332,000.
3 bets to 332k. Alex Fitzgerald folds the big. Back on Reichenberg now.
Are these two going to go bananas against each other? That's right, Hulk Logan, Uncle Jonesy.
Did Reichenberg just move all in?
Yep.
And Reynolds calls all in.
This is the sick part.
Oh.
Reichenberg is drawing live.
Hold on a second. Of course, Reichenberg slipped down the leaderboard.
Yeah.
I think he's the at-risk player here. Reynolds has got him covered.
Wow.
And Reichenberg flops the straight.
So sick.
No, wait, no. He has.
So sick.
Oh, wow.
Frickin' ace king every time.
Reichenberg feeling mildly guilty, but he'll take it.
I might start believing lucky.
That's the good news about feeling guilty there. You can't give the chips back.
3.7 million.
Will Reynolds just taking it on the chin.
That is a significant blow to his stack. That is brutal. We're going to need a montage to show the passing of time and how the stacks changed over the following few hands. So Reichenberg holds on to the chip lead. Reynolds manages to move himself back up into 4th place. Alex Fitzgerald dispatched him 7th place.
Schlug.
The Taurus didn't even get a video.
The Taurus didn't even get montaged.
The ultimate schluging. And that's the end of Ovi Balaj. I don't think we saw him play a single hand, but he was the 6th place finisher in this event.
It's over for Ovi.
And now we're down to the final 5. Reichenberg, the chip leader, just ahead of Dragan Galic. And I just want to pause the action there because I've just remembered something, Joe. And sorry to interrupt the action, but I think you'll find this quite funny. I mentioned the fact that Alex Fitzgerald had been an entertaining character at the tables. And I remember Nick and I were riffing on all of what he was saying and doing. So the producer had said, look, if Fitzgerald goes out, do you want us to try and get him in the booth? Because back then we'd have various members of Team Pro, but also players, when they bust, were quite happy to come backstage and spend a little time on commentary and talk about playing in the event and their thoughts on their opponents. So we said, absolutely, we'd love to have him in there. And shortly after he went out in 7th place, and yes, just to clarify, Danilo de Torres finished in 8th, Fitzgerald finished in 7th, we had a message in the Skype chat saying, would you like Alex now? And we're like, absolutely. And this guy appears who is not Alex Fitzgerald. And he sits down between me and Nick. And we're looking at each other kind of like, who's this? And we're kind of like on the Skype chat saying, help. But of course, the guy who sat between us can see our screens. So you can't very well write in the chat if you just put on the commentary right now. And no response. So you're kind of flying blind. And bless him, Nick did that classic get out of jail card, which is, for the benefit of our viewers, introduce yourself, tell us, all about yourself. And
dude, I love Nick so much. I freaking love that guy.
And the guy who we had been told was Alex introduced himself, says, hello, my name is Lex Veldhaus. I'm the newest member of Team PokerStars Pro. And that was the first time that I met Lex, not Alex, producer Lawrence, but it was Lex who came in as a guest. Neither of us had any idea who he was and forced him to introduce himself to the world on the live stream. San Remo 2009, that actually happened.
And now look at us. We kiss Alexa's butt every few seconds. We would literally kill to have him on the broadcast.
But clearly, even if you knew the name Razzie, even if you knew him as an online beast back then, you may not have known his face. And of course, even though he'd been on the EPT since season 2, he hadn't put up any results. He hadn't really made any deep runs. So we didn't have a clue who he was. But yes, that was my first meeting with Lex Veldhuis in San Remo.
125.
Lex Assassinato Veldhuis.
That's scary.
I really wish I could have been in on some of those broadcasts with you and Nick.
I am still shocked to this day that we managed to last 2 or 3 seasons working together and neither of us got fired. There were certainly moments where I can say this, that we could justifiably have been got rid of.
I mean, was there the attitude of it's only the internet back then?
Yes, absolutely. And we were only streaming on our own platform. The stream was exclusive to PokerStars.tv. There was no Twitch. There were no live streams on YouTube. And it was a much smaller audience. It was a very niche audience, being cards down coverage on a PokerStars platform. So, yes, you got away with a lot more. And there was no archive. There was no replay. If you missed something, you couldn't even skip back.
There was no Twitch clips to save every mistake and gaffe.
Yeah. I mean, as I think I've mentioned before, someone has recorded all those streams on DVD somewhere, but heaven knows where they are in the archives, and I really hope they've been lost. So Reichenberg bets the river. Gallic with the best hand, paired his ace on the turn.
Oh, please tell me this goes call rub down.
Have the clock. Time.
Oh.
I think you should give him at least 3 minutes before we call the time.
Okay.
So no thinking time actually edited out there. That was Reichenberg just being a little bit aggro.
That's a weird response from Thomas to say you have to give him at least 3 minutes before you can call the clock. That seems long to me. Now at this point, Gallic's just like, all right, well, now I'm going to take my time. I don't even think he's thinking about the hand.
I guess 3 minutes was given as an approximate duration there. And Reichenberg shows that he pushed Gallic off the best hand. Look at the face.
Get him.
Please give him a lesson.
Do it again. You're really crazy.
Takes it so personally. Dragon steaming.
I mean, in his capacity as TD, in addition to being the table announcer, Thomas Kremser is obviously able to make that ruling. If he doesn't feel the players had sufficient time to make a decision, he can deny calling the clock. I agree with you. A bit weird, though, to specify that it should be 3 minutes. So a raise from William Reynolds with pocket tens. Constant Reichenberg calling out the small blind with king queen. Dragan Gallic calls out of the big blind with ace 6.
All right, a little justice for Will Reynolds. Has flopped a hand he can be very confident in. 95% 3 ways. And Reichenberg picks up top pair now. How do you say there? How do you like them apples? And Gallic is going to be the one to do the betting. So this could work out really well for Will. Long 91 on Twitch says, all in and call. Just calm down, buddy.
370.
370,000 into just over 500,000.
And constant re-raise only.
Call.
All in from Reichenberg. Reynolds calls all in.
He's got him this time.
Player shows pocket tens. He has a set of tens.
I'm drawing that.
No chance of suck out. Will
Nope.
Reynolds 2 times got Reichenberg to get his money in bad. This time he is drawing deed.
The river card irrelevant as William Reynolds gets the double up. Justice
Hogan
for Bill
Paul.
Jam.
I love some Bill Jam justice.
Blinds are 30,000, 60,000 with a 5K ante.
Surprised the ante isn't 5,100 to keep the 100 chips out there too.
Can you imagine designing a structure which had things like it's 32,000, 64,000 with a 1,050 ante? Keep
Well,
the
James,
greens
we're
in play.
We're doing a lot of these final table replays now, and there's some funny blind levels in those.
That is true.
So these guys are going to go heads up to the flop.
When the chips are virtual, though, it doesn't matter.
5 of hearts, 4 of spades, queen of clubs.
Oh, here we go. Reichenberg v. Gallic.
Bets 175,000. Dragon announces raise.
What? 100?
175.
350.
Did not know the amount he was raising.
All in.
All in re-raise from Constant.
I mean, the speed these guys are making decisions is ridiculous. I know in the past we've questioned, is the pace of play accurate or has thinking time been edited from the TV broadcast? You can see it's the same shot.
How much is that left?
No time cut here.
Don't ask how much it is. Just fold.
How much I bet?
350.
350.
How much did I bet?
2, 4, 6.
This would be
300.
maybe
10,
the all-time greatest
5,
call-off
7, 9,
punt.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
No way he calls. He's just got to try to save face a little bit here. There's clearly more going on between these two.
Yeah, but Reichenberg's range includes hands like Jack 7, 10, 6.
I don't, have we seen any post-flop shoves that light? I don't think so.
Hij was wel leuk deze. Even mijn handje zo laten gaan.
Dragon
Hij heeft een handje
still
trillen expres.
steaming.
William and Gustav have the blinds. Constant under the gun.
Ace Queen, the hand for Reichenberg.
He's going to raise to
Again?
150,000.
I'm all in.
All in re-raise.
Oh, shove.
No, no way it's a better hand than ace queen. Oh, it is.
Pocket nines.
He'll get the button and the small blind out.
Reichenberg runs pretty good in flips. He calls, and we are off to the races. And Gallic is the at-risk player here.
Ace queen for Constant.
Like Uncharted 2 versus Assassin's Creed 2.
Dragon is the at-risk player. He is in the lead with
One of these two hands from 2009 has the slight mathematical advantage.
with the ace of hearts and the queen of clubs. Let's see the flop, please. Flop is
Oh, my word, he does it again. Flops are straight.
And I gotta say, those high fives justified.
Let's see the turn card.
Celebration justified.
And Gallic drawing dead on the turn. He's out in 5th place. Reichenberg wins the pot, and Gallic cashes for 314,000 euros.
The dragon has been slain.
What a roller coaster ride for Constant Reichenberg, who has reclaimed the chip lead with a stack of nearly 5.3 million. William Reynolds second on the leaderboard with close to 3.7 million. Gustav Sundell with 1.57 million. Kalaniemi with 1.3 million. Blind still 30-60.
Constant under the gun. He's going to pass. Over to Kool-Aid on the button.
Hè? Run als schot hoor.
He's going to raise to 150,000.
Degenerate NL asks, did Niemi play a hand yet? Here he comes, raising to 150,000 with King Queen.
Ja, ik denk als ik een kleiner gebed maak, dan valt ze net. Ja, ik had zeker. Nee, dat was een beetje tilt omdat wat een drone niet kwam.
I'm all in.
William announces re-raise.
Reynolds shoves from the small blind with the sailboats. And Sundell calls all in with kings.
William and Gustav. We got kings for Gustav and 4s
Oh,
for
Billy. Speaking of roller coaster rides, what a day it's been for Will Reynolds. About to double up Sundell.
Oh, Billy. Well, that's pretty decisive.
Berlin Holken då.
Gustav has flop top, has flop to set. Let's see the turn card. Turn card is
Okay. A deuce would see Reynolds river a wheel.
This will be one of the worst beats I've ever seen.
Let's see the river card.
No deuce on the river. Sundell doubles up.
Den var skön att få. 1,50. Ja.
Blinds are up, 40-80.
There's a guy on the rail wearing a shirt that says Panther Football. Is that from your that soap opera you like?
The Dillon Panthers, Friday Night Lights, or it could be the Carolina Panthers, who are an actual football team, Joe.
Sports.
Gustav's going to re-raise to 500,000.
Reynolds is open with ace-6, Sundell is 3-bet with 8s.
Constant will fold the big blind. 215,000 chip raise back to William.
Don't see you folding.
315,000 chip raise. William says he folds, shows ace-6 offsuit. Gustav takes the pot.
Yeah, he's so cute. He's a little cheer from his friends. He wins a small pot. Hey guys, I won. I won one.
Va? Nej. Det var bra han.
William under the gun.
190.
Ace-9 for Reynolds. And he opens to 190,000. King Jack for Kalaniemi.
Shouldn't this dealer be guarding the northern wall?
Pull in the 195. Yes. No, pull in his 195.
Niemi all in with King Jack.
865 more.
I mean, Reynolds technically ahead.
865,000 more is the all-in raise from Kule.
I feel like he is going to be dominated quite a bit. And the rest of the time, he is going to be barely out in front.
Oh, Joe, you've angered the one remaining Game of Thrones fan in the world. Ollie Cordova says, it's just the wall, Joe. There is no southern wall.
Yet he knew what I was talking about, so, huh. Will really wants to make this call. I mean, you're going to be flipping sometimes. You're going to be in bad shape a big chunk of the time. Bigger aces and bigger pocket pairs, right? Tens, jacks, what have you.
William folds ace.
Reynolds lays it down. We know it was a slightly better hand, but I like the laydown. one clap. Is he in there? What happened? I think we lost him. Oh, he's turning a chip around. He still has movement.
We've lost him to a transcendental state.
Scott S.'s worst final table ever. Where are you getting that from?
Clearly you're new to this. You've been with us
Well, just by what measurement?
from the beginning. We're talking about standard of play. I'm assuming that's what's dictating that response. And again, I would respond with, if you'd been around when we were streaming final tables from 04, 05, this is not the worst.
No, not by any measure.
Oh, Niemi all in again with ace queen. So Sundal open with ace jack, Reichenberg called with sixes, Niemi then shoved.
Sundell with a much tougher hand to fold, but given the way the action's gone, again, I think you can rule out a lot of the aces that you are doing well against.
Uncle Jonesy points out, yeah, this is a far cry from what we started with, which was objectively hilarious. Ultimately, whether we see GTO poker or not, what I like are the personalities, the characters, the inevitable clashes between egos, and we've had plenty of that at this table.
Totally agree. Reichenberg sweating this decision that's not even on him yet. Sundell does still have Reichenberg to think about behind him. Wow.
What does Reichenberg do?
It's 3.6 million in the
Back to
middle.
Constant now. Constant shows sixes and mucks.
So it is domination nation, Finland v Sweden, and the Finn has the dominating hand.
The at-risk player, Gustav has him covered. Kule has the queen of clubs and the ace of diamonds. Gustav has the jack of clubs and the ace of spades. Let's see the flop.
Think I should pass? I don't know. You think I should go?
Flop is 5-9-8, 5 of hearts, 9 of
Ace
clubs,
queen holding,
9 of spades.
near me an 84% favorite to double up.
Let's see the turn. Is it 8 of clubs?
9 zou nu wel echt ideaal zijn.
Chop it up.
Opportunities.
Let's see the river.
No chop, the full double up for Kalaniemi.
Save me 1.5.
Sundell calling it off a little light there. I do think sometimes he'd be ahead. I think it's just not that often. I don't think that ace 10, ace 9 are shoving after the action goes like that.
Reynolds the low man at the table, Reichenberg big chip leader. But over the next few hands, Reynolds gets a bit back, closes the gap between himself and Sundell.
It's a 9 of diamonds.
And then he doubles up. But as we rejoin the action, he is still the shortest stack at the table with the blinds at 50,000, 100,000.
If you double me, I'll probably let that slide.
Kale under the gun. He'll pass. William on the button.
Nope. She already got nervous in the big. Crazy nervous. All right.
William's going to raise all
Here
in.
comes Billy Boy.
Gustav in the small blind.
Bill
Jamming
Jam from
for 10 big blinds with King Jack, gets called by Reichenberg in the big blind with ace 7.
Reynolds had Reichenberg in a similar spot earlier.
Obviously.
Constant has him covered.
Reichenberg flopped a straight.
Let's see the flop, please.
Maybe Reynolds will get him back.
Just don't, don't brick me like that.
Flop is ace 9 5.
Ace high flop.
9 of clubs, ace of
Make it a
spades,
sweat.
5
Put
of
a-
spades.
Put a jack or a king.
Neither player has a
Sweat.
spade in their hand. Constance in the lead with his aces.
Ace 9-5.
So let's see the turn card. Turn card is the 9 of diamonds. Williams
And that will see William Reynolds drawing dead on the turn, eliminated by chip leader Constant Reichenberg. Reynolds finishes in 4th place for 377,000 euros, and we're down to 3 players.
That's a wrap on Reynolds.
Sick, dude. Just had no other options. Oh yeah, well that's not even in question.
This is the final table of EPT 5 San Remo from April 2009. 3 players remaining competing for a first prize of 1.5 million euros. That's nearly $2 million US, Joe.
Huge, huge. What was the line from the EPT theme song? And big monies?
Glories, trophies, and big monies. They're up for grabs when you find yourself playing on the EPT.
I mean, we could like make it 13.
What?
Are you interested in a talk?
Guys, you can't talk about it here.
Oh, those Americans think they're so cool.
Take a break and go talk about it.
2 EPT champions and William Reynolds there. Michael Martin and Jason Mercier chatting with Bill Jam on the rail.
What? Ah, okay.
Niami's turn with Ace Jack.
You going to Monte Carlo after this? Yep.
He's going to raise 250,000 from Kalle. All in re-raise from Gustav.
Once again, Sundell getting it in a domination situation.
1.8? Yeah, approximately.
Time for Reichenberg to fold face up again.
1,725,000 is the all-in re-raise.
What the heck does Reichenberg have? I guess we'll never know. James, do you remember what he had?
Call.
Nope.
Live stream.
As I've never covered this event cards up before.
Ace 6 suited in hearts from Gustav.
So once again, Niami has Sundell dominated, and this time it's Sundell who's the at-risk player.
Jobba sexa, jobba sexa.
5, 8, king. 5 of hearts. 8 of diamonds. King of spades. Kalle still
Vi måste jobba
leads with
samma
ace
kort.
jack.
Ja, Geista sexa alla. Det var
Let's see the turn card. 6. It's the 3 of diamonds.
Unless there is a 6 on the river, we are going heads up in San Remo.
See that river card.
It's a bad show.
It's a deuce, and that will see Gustav Sundell dispatched in 3rd place. Cashes for 480k. Kalle Niemi from Finland will go heads up against Constant Reichenberg from the Netherlands.
All the money up top. Just 480,000 for 3rd place. The big money still to come.
And not as big a disparity in the chips as you might have thought. Reichenberg ahead with 6.6 million, but Niemi with 5.2 million. Huge difference, by the way, between 2nd and 1st place prize money, Joe. 862k for the runner-up, 1.5 million for the winner.
Let me guess, this heads up lasts like one hand with these 2 yo-yos. Now, it's not something I would want to specifically mention unless we could prove it, but a lot of talk in chat about overselling happening in this tournament, which makes things interesting.
There were a lot of rumors at the time about Constant Reichenberg. I don't know what the true story is, and therefore I'm not going to speculate about what he may or may not have done.
4 of diamonds, ace of clubs, 8 of spades. Constant check.
I mean, this is what I was expecting. These two guys just blasting away.
Well, the interesting thing is that Niemi's been pretty snug. I mean, we've hardly seen him play a hand, and when he has played a hand, he's had it. So this
is true.
Not characteristic for him to be betting here with Jack 6 on an Ace 8-4 board.
Couple people in chat asking what overselling is. That we can at least explain. Let's say I'm going to play the EPT, and I say to James Hardigan, it's a 5K, James, and for 2,500 euros, I'll sell you half my action. And then I go to my other friend, Nick Wealthall, and I say to Nick Wealthall, I'll sell you half of my action for 2,500 euros. And then I go to my third friend, John Duffy, and I tell him I'll sell him half of my action for 2,500 euros. Now I know, now I owe 150% of my winnings. Happens sometimes.
Reichenberg with aces on the button.
Constant raise to 250.
Ace 10 suited for Niemi. The raise is to
Alrighty then.
250K.
Raise.
How much?
Ace 10 of diamonds is going to be a tough hand to get away from heads up against a player like Reichenberg, who can really be goofing off, running around, pulling the fire alarm with any number of wacky hands.
Ringing the alarm, and I'm throwing elbows.
Throwing bows. So we are just going to take a flop.
Unlucky, Niemi. It's been nice knowing you.
Yep.
Flops, top pair, top kicker, oblivious to what his opponent is holding. Re-raised pre, bets big on the flop.
This flop is straight poo for Niemi.
1,075,000.
Or hate poo, as it were. Srelberg asks, so if a person makes money, they lose, but if they lose money, they make money. Correct. Thank you for your comment.
5 of hearts. Board is 3, 5, 10, 5.
And Niemi's not going to slow down. He moves all in. Reichenberg calls. And Niemi's going to need to see a 10 on the river, or this is over.
Stay back, stay back. We're about to have a millionaire. All I'll say is that if I had oversold here, I'd be puking right now.
We have a decision, and we know the jam. Let's see the
He does look a little sick.
It's a 4.
No 10 on the river. Constant Reichenberg takes down EPT 5 San Remo. Carla Niemi, the runner-up for 862,000 euros. Reichenberg claims the first prize of 1,508,000. Drawing a line under the penultimate leg of Season 5 of the European Poker Tour. Reichenberg, an unorthodox player, hyper-aggressive, but nonetheless a winner, joining the rank of former champions and lifting the trophy. Presented to him by Luca Pagano.
The constant Reisenberg gets there in the end.
Well, that was a fun event.
James, if you're saying penultimate event, that must mean the grand final is up next.
Yes, we're still in an era where the season ran from late summer to spring, and it always concluded just down the road in Monaco with the EPT Grand Final in Monte Carlo, and that's where we're heading next, which won't actually be until, it'll be tomorrow. I keep thinking that today's Thursday. It's not. It's Wednesday. So yes, that means we're going to be back tomorrow with more EPT Retro, and we're going to be closing out Season 5 of the EPT with the Grand Final in Monte Carlo. Will Constant Reichenberg go back-to-back? Spoiler alert, no, he won't. In fact, I don't think I've seen or heard of Reichenberg since.
Yeah, I definitely haven't heard of him until this. So it wouldn't surprise me if he just sort of fizzled out into the ether from there.
It was a fun event, though, right? I mean, enjoyable to have a wild card like that in the mix.
Yeah, he was enjoyable. Will Reynolds was enjoyable. Dragon also enjoyable. A good mix of personalities there, and still, you know, we were watching this era of poker where it was still very personal. And to me, even though it's not exactly GTO poker,
yeah,
that's super entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. So that concludes EPT Retro for today, and that concludes the stream for those of you watching on YouTube and Facebook. A reminder that the stream continues on Twitch because we have got our Scoop Final Table replay just around the corner. We're going to be covering the 96 High event, which is the second chance main event from Scoop. But if you can't stay with us, if you've got other stuff to do, fair enough. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the EPT Season 5 Grand Final. All right, Joseph, let's talk Scoop. Spring Championship of Online Poker continues, extended till the end of the month. Additional events added to the schedule, including this event, Scoop 96, the second chance main event, which was half the price of the first time. So $5,200 to play the high. A guarantee on this, by the way, of $1.5 million. But as with so many of the guarantees we've seen through Scoop, absolutely smashed because there were a total of 465 entries. That's 324 unique players and 141 re-entries. That means a total prize pool of 2.3 million and huge sums up for grabs, as you can see advertised on the screen right now, with 9th place paying 42k and the winner of this 5k event receiving 416k. And if we look around the table, there are some online handles that you may recognize. If not, maybe we can translate those for you. 2 Canadian players at this final table who are very well known on the live circuit. Tim O'Thee is Tim Adams, who is a regular in the high roller and super high rollers that we cover on the EPT. We've also got Pass 72, Pascal Lefrancois, who made a deep run in the PCA a few years back, but is still best remembered for taking off his shirt, Joe?
I don't, I guess so. I wish. He deserves to be known for more than that. I just find it interesting that Pascal's avatar is a picture of Sam Chartier.
So GLs all around as the action starts at this final table. Blinds are 125,000, 250,000. And we can see right now that it is Pascal Lefrancois who appears to have the chip lead going into this final table with more than 21 million.
Some discussion in the chat about waiting for someone.
Yeah, you can see that Ange is sitting out. The player has been dealt the King 4.
Well, this is cool. Some nice solidarity in the poker community. Everyone, it appears to be agreeing to stall.
Tim pointing out that you don't need to eat your time bank, and Pascal Lefrancois making it clear that he has no intention of using his time bank here.
But if every player at least tanks for a minute until the time bank starts, that's a fair way to do this for Ange. And Vea is really going to town on the time bank.
Maybe Vea has actually disconnected, and this is not a stall. And yes, Pascal pointing out that Ange has arrived, and actually now he's no longer sitting out. We can see that Ange is the player coming into this final table as chip leader with nearly 26 million. Action has been folded to him with the King 4.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't know we were waiting for the chip leader. That changes things a little bit.
So a raise from Silskaya with ace king.
And Silskaya raising a decent chunk of their stack.
And it has been called by Pascal. Ace king versus jack 6. Ace king still ahead.